Hi everybody, Dale Fredericks here. Today I'd like to talk about flexions. And there's 3 different flexions we're going to talk about. The first one is the flexion of the lower jaw. The second one is direct flexions of the pole, which is just bringing the nose in to vertical or near vertical. And the third one is lateral flexion of the pole, which is bringing the horse's nose to the side, but flexing at the pole here. And you might ask why you need these. They make all the difference in riding in general, just because you get a wonderful feeling of giving whenever you make contact with the reins. When done properly, it feels kind of like your reins are connected to a stick of butter. And through relaxing the lower jaw is connected with muscles up through the pole and into the shoulders. So once we start getting everything relaxed from the jaw on up, we're really affecting the whole front end of the horse. And in addition, this is also the keystone of getting your horse to collect. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to raise the front, elevate the pole, bring the nose in, and relax the lower jaw. And by doing that, we're shortening the frame up of the horse. The horse actually raises in the withers a little bit. And then all that's left after that to obtain collection is just to get the hindquarters to tuck under, get some impulsion, and compress the frame even more. So we're going to start with well, I might mention too, for doing these exercises, I like to use just a regular ring snaffle, and I don't have a curb strap attached to it. Instead, I have a cavesson here. And it's adjusted loose enough so the horse can mouth the bit, but it's tight enough to discourage him from gapping open his mouth or chomping on the bit. And the principles that I'm about to show you were shown to me by my mentor, the late Roy Yates. And in addition to that, earlier this year I purchased a video or a DVD from Eclectic Horseman magazine by a lady named Lisa Maxwell. And she has some very good exercises in that DVD that I've incorporated into my program. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to obtain a flexion of the lower jaw. And all that really is just the horse, when there's bit pressure, to just mouth the bit. And to start that, I'll just grab one ring on the bottom, the other one on the top, and just kind of give it some tremors. I don't know if you can see his mouth. If that doesn't work, I'll go to the top and down on the other side. As soon as we get that mouthing of the bit right there, we release the pressure. That's exactly what we want. We don't want the horse chewing on the bit or chomping. When he's chewing on the bit, he's actually contracting his muscles, and we want him to relax his muscles. So let's try it again. We'll give a little vibration here. Up on one corner of the mouth, down on the other. As soon as we get a response, we release pressure. And some horses are going to be tough about that. You might have to just keep persisting, and you might even have to, sometimes I'll stick my finger in the corner of their mouth to get them to mouth a bit there. That's perfect. So once we get that done, we're going to introduce a lateral flexion. And I'm gonna take my right hand in this case. I'm gonna squeeze the rein between my thumb and index finger. And as soon as the horse gives to the pressure, I can release with my fingers. I can give him his release. I can tighten or release with my fingers. So let's see if we can bring his head around a little bit to the right. There, he mouthed a bit. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my left rein, I'm going to grasp it in the same way, and I'm going to raise up. I'm going to elevate his head, then I'm going to start bringing it back to him. You see him mouthing the bit? Very nice. So we're elevating the pole a little bit and bringing the nose in. Now when this horse will chew on the bit sometimes, and it's not desirable. I don't know any way to prevent it. but you can discourage it by making it uncomfortable. I'll slide the bit back and forth in his mouth a little bit. And I have found too that a lot of horses will play with a snaffle bit. Once you graduate them to a leverage bit, a stiffer bit, a lot of that will go away. So we're going to bring his nose around to the right, and then we're going to apply some upward pressure and bring his nose back to the center. And we're going to yield to him whenever he gives, or release these fingers. Okay? Good. This is what Miss Maxwell in her DVD calls the first flexion. If the horse wants to back up, just bring him ahead. I'll show you that one more time. Right hand on the withers, bring his nose around a little bit to the right. Left hand up. And then release. Now the second flexion, we're going to get in front of the horse. We're going to take a rein in each hand, put outward pressure, and we're going to try to stretch his neck. Stretch his neck out and up. And this is really good for horses that want to bear down on the bit. Okay, then we'll go from there to the third flexion, again holding the reins pressure outwards. We'll bring his nose back down to vertical. And then we'll, he wants to chew on it there. I'm going to make it uncomfortable. And bring his nose around to the right. Still maintaining that vertical flexion, but adding the lateral flexion. Now we'll do the same thing to the left. Okay? You see most of the bend is at the pole. And then back to vertical again. Alright, very good. Now once we got all three of those going, we can start adding some movement, some impulsion. So if you've been following our videos from the start, you remember at the very beginning we taught our horses to lead in this position here. And we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to be back a little further. So it might be a little confusing to them at first. They might crowd into you or away from you, try to back up or whatever, but just persist and they'll get it. And when we start adding this forward motion, we want to keep our physical cues to a minimum. So one thing I like to do is make sure my cluck's working. In other words, if I cluck to my horse, I want him to move ahead. So we'll check it out here. I didn't get any response, so I'm going to tap him. We'll try it again. Good. Alright, we got it going now. So now I'm going to put my dressage whip in my right hand. I'm going to get my rein in my right hand and assume the same position that I had before with it. Squeezing between my thumb and index finger, and my other fingers ready to release or close, whatever I need to do. So I'm going to take his nose around a little bit to the right. Then I'm going to take my inside rein, pick up on it, and get him to take some steps forward. And you want to keep giving them slack, but letting them go forward in a slow walk and maintaining this posture with their front end. And this is the posture of collection right here. The horse is learning to step up under himself while maintaining this frame. Okay, very good. So whatever we do on one side, we need to do it on the other side. So let's change around. And we'll briefly go through the same things again. This time we're going to have the left hand resting on the mane. Squeezing with my thumb and forefinger. You can see he's thinking about going ahead, which is fine. But I don't want him to go ahead right now. But that shows that he's thinking about adding impulsion. So I'm bringing my inside rein up, giving it to him. As soon as he relaxes a little bit. All right, very good. Now we're going to go to the second flexion on this side. Hold the rein in each hand and apply outward pressure and try to stretch out their neck. Again, you want to do this in increments. At first you're not going to get quite this much. Try to get them to stretch as much as you can. Then back down to vertical. Get a lateral to the left. Back to vertical. Lateral to the right. And back to vertical again. And I'm always trying to keep his head up above the level. So now we're going to add some forward motion. Bring his head around to the left a little bit with the lateral flexion. And then up. You want to be continually giving and taking with your hands and going on as loose a rein as you can. Well, that pretty much sums up the groundwork that I use for these flexions. In a later video we'll show you how to transfer it to the saddle. Until then, thanks for watching. God bless you. Goodbye.